Hello and welcome to the BucketLister podcast. Join your host Keith Crockford along with special guests who have travelled the world, here to share stories of their adventures and plenty of inspo to add to your bucket list. Now, let's get into today's episode.
Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of the BucketLister podcast. I am your host Keith Crockford. And today I am flying solo, so I wanted to chat to you all about the changes that we've recently made to the Bucket List company. So what we decided was that we were going to change the way we run our trips. Ever since I started the Bucket List company back in 2016 now, we've always run our trips with a UK guide. And we don't want to stop that. You know, don't get me wrong, that is, we enjoy running our trips like that. But there's only so many trips we can run a year. I'm currently recording this from Spain. I was in Spain with another group last week. Next week, I'm off to Gozo on a scuba diving trip with a group. So there's only so many trips that we can run in a year. And, you know, people message us all the time saying, I'm a teacher, I can only go in the summer holidays. You haven't got any trips in the summer holidays. You know, I want to go on a trip to Kili in February and you haven't got any Kili trips in February. So we were thinking about how we could do this. And, you know, most other companies don't provide UK guides with their trips. And I know for a lot of our customers, that is one of the reasons why you book with us. But over the years, we have made such amazing relationships with our local guides like Whitey in Tanzania, or Kitap, or Dawa, or Ram in Nepal, Mo Hassan in Morocco. We've got Alex in Peru at the minute out with Jake with a group. You know, these guides, you know, they're just as much bucket list as we are in, you know, their local knowledge, how they are with groups. You know, they can run trips without us for some of the time. Sometimes we will be there, sometimes we won't. So what we've done is we've gone out there and looked at the amount of trips we run in a year, look at the amount of trips we want to run, and just said, okay, some of the trips will be what we've now called BucketLister Plus trips, and some of them will just be BucketLister trips. Now, if you've done a trip with us in the past, you have completed what is now a BucketLister Plus trip. So you met one of the UK guides at the airport. We sorted your flights out for you if you wanted us to. We've gone out with you on the trip. We've met our local guiding team. We've done the trip with them, and then we've all come back together. So that is a BucketLister Plus trip. And some of our trips will still remain as BucketLister Plus trips. So if you want to have the security of a UK guide, if you want us to book your flights for you, if you want, you know, to sort all that out, then the BucketLister Plus trips will still be there for you to book. If you are not so interested in having the UK guide and you want to sort the trip out for yourself, you want to sort your own flights out, maybe you're already going to South America and you just want to tag on a Machu Picchu Inca Trail trek or a Salcantay trek, then you can, we'll have more dates, more availability, and you can then just go and book one of our BucketLister trips. So we won't do any of the flights. There won't be a UK guide. You will need to make your way to the starting point of the trip, whether that be Kathmandu or Kilimanjaro International Airport or Marrakesh Airport, where you'll be met then by our local guides, and then they will look after you through the duration of the trip. So that's basically the two differences between a BucketLister Plus trip and a BucketLister trip. There'll be more BucketLister trips dates on the website than there will be BucketLister Plus trips. But if you want the UK guide on the trip, then they'll still be available for you to go ahead and do that. So that's one of the changes. And what that enables us to do at the Bucket List company is to look at more trips to the destinations we're already running, but it also allows us to look at new trips and add more and more new trips in as well, and give you guys more choice in what we're doing. And that's kind of what we've done with the change in the BucketLister and the BucketLister Plus, is we've also launched 9 new trips yesterday as well. So we've got the Real Maldives trip. We've got gorilla trekking in Uganda. We've got the Latang trek. We've got Annapurna base camp trek. We've got the best of Indonesia, the best of Sri Lanka, the best of Brazil. So we've got lots and lots of new trips that we're launching. And with all of those new trips, whenever we launch a new trip at the Bucket List Company, when we first launch that trip, we always launch it as a Trailblazer trip. And if you're not familiar with our Trailblazer trips, every time we launch a new trip, they all start that trip is always a Trailblazer trip. We always run it slightly cheaper than normal trips because it's the first one, and we kind of want to use you guys as a bit of an experiment in terms of we want you to come away and try the trip out, give us some feedback, let us know what you didn't like about it, if there's anything you'd change. And we sort all the flights out, and they are guided by UK guides, because we want to be on the ground to see what people think of the trip and go through it with them and get some video and marketing photos. And so that's the idea of our Trailblazer trip. So of all of those destinations that we've just launched, there is the first date on each one will be a Trailblazer where we can sort your flights out for you. We'll meet you at the airport. We'll go off with you on all of those new 9 destinations. They will be Trailblazer BucketLister Plus trips, if you like. So do have a look at that as well. But, the other thing that we've added to the website as well is if you look at any of our destination pages, there is now a button at the top that says book a private trip, because we are, seeing a lot more people now contacting the office. And, again, they're off traveling, they're doing something different to the norm, and they just want to add, like I say, we had a Machu Picchu one the other day. We've had a Kilimanjaro one recently. We've had a Toubkal where someone was in Morocco and they just wanted to climb Mount Toubkal, so they contacted us. So if there's any of our destinations that you just think, actually, do you know what? I want to go and do that with my friend, and I don't want to do it as group travel. You can now click that button and we'll come back and give you a quote for any of our trips so that you can just go ahead and do them when it might be that you've got 2 weeks annual leave that you need to use up within the next month. And actually, what are we going to do? That trip looks amazing, but the Bucket List Company aren't running one. Well, we can put one together for just the 2 of you, or 3 of you, or 1 of you if you want to. So you can just click that button on the website, send us your request, let us know what you want to do, and then we'll get straight back to you as well with a quote for that. So those are really the main changes of what we've done. There's been a bit of a few website tweaks as well in making the website look a little bit better. Although, as with anything, when you launch a new thing, it never quite goes to plan. And we've had quite a few hiccups over the last 48 hours. And Tom in the office has worked tirelessly to try and get everything fixed, ready as well. So there are still some more improvements to come as well. But in terms of the new trips that we've just launched, the gorilla trekking one's been quite popular so far. There seems to be quite a lot of interest in the Real Maldives trip, and obviously we've done some podcasts. We've done a podcast on the Maldives trip recently as well. The Indonesia trip seems to be getting quite a bit of attention as well. So we're super excited about these new trips, and there are more new trips to come along as well. And we're always really interested to hear what's on people's bucket lists. And if you've got something that you want to do, then we can certainly look at adding, into the new trips that we're launching as well. So please do keep in touch and let us know what's on your bucket lists. But I just wanted to do a quick podcast today just to sort of go through, I've written emails out about the changes, but sometimes it's just easier to hear it and actually get into your head the idea of the BucketLister and the BucketLister Plus trips. So, really, we're not changing what we're doing, apart from we're just adding another service into it. And another reason for us doing that as well is because I always think, because we're, again, like I said earlier, we're one of the only companies that do offer the UK guide option. Some people don't want it. They think it's a really bad idea. Other people and especially over the last kind of like since we launched this yesterday, over the last 24 hours, I've heard from a few of our customers who say, oh, I like the UK guide, but I don't think I'd go on a trip without a UK guide. And like I say, that's fine because they still exist. That's not a problem. But one thing that I would say is that in terms of our competitors or the travel companies that don't do it the way we do it, we are still compared by a lot of people on price in terms of, if you're going to go and do an Everest base camp trek with another organization, they're not going to send a UK guide. They don't sort your flights out for you. You have to, turn up in Kathmandu and do those bits yourself. I mean, they won't even pick you up from the airport. You'll need to get to your first night's accommodation. And that's their model. But obviously that model is cheaper to operate than what our model is with the UK guides. But obviously when somebody lands on our website and sees our price, some people don't even look through the pricing structure to see what's included, what's not included. They're just looking at the baseline cost. So we kind of get pushed to one side a little bit in terms of we don't get a look in because they just see that the big price at the top and saying Everest base camp is that much money. So the idea being with adding the BucketLister and the BucketLister Plus trips is to give that comparison. So actually you can look at the cost of a trip on a competitor's website. That's their Everest base camp cost. And then that's going to really compare to our BucketLister price. And then it's then, if you just want to compare those two, that's what you're comparing. They're very similar packages. No UK guide. You get there, you've got to get yourself to Kathmandu, etc. Perfect. But then with the BucketLister Plus trip, you then look at the price of that and see the other things that are included. And then it's up to the individuals then to see if they think, well, actually, is there the value in that? And obviously, if you read a lot of our testimonials from people really do see the value of the UK guides. If you've never had a UK guide before and you've always done group travel without having a UK guide, then you're not going to see what having a UK guide, you're not going to know what having a UK guide with you is going to bring to the trip. And that's fine. You might not want to do that. But at least, we're actually now comparing apples with apples between us and our competitors, rather than actually our BucketLister Plus product is kind of a pear, not an apple, really, in terms of they're completely different products. So, that's kind of why we're doing what we're doing moving forwards. So I just wanted to do a quick podcast just to explain all that, just to kind of talk it through. So, if you've seen the email, if you've seen stuff on social media about the new trips, I just wanted to kind of go through it and just explain the reasons why, what the inclusions are, etc., and go from there. But we're super excited about our BucketLister trips. We can offer more destinations, we can offer more trip dates. Our local guides are super excited because they're going to be having more bucket list company groups that come into them that they're going to be working with. And they love working with bucket list company groups. And they say, like, if we could just work with bucket list company groups, we would much rather do that. And now we've got that possibility, if you look at our Kilimanjaro dates, we've got one a month. If you look at our Everest, if you look at our Machu Picchu dates, we've, in season, we've got each tour running once a month. And it might be that some of them are bucket lister, there is a BucketLister Plus one quite often through there as well. And we've also tied them up so they're going at similar times. So it might be that you're on a BucketLister trip, but actually there is a BucketLister Plus trip happening at the same time or close to. So there'll be a representative from the company in Peru anyway. So we just think it's a super exciting time for the bucket list company to be adding more destinations, more dates, having more people experiencing our trips. And the ones that we get so many teachers that want to book with us but can't because we don't run enough trips in the school holidays, etc. Now all of a sudden we've got loads of trips in the school holidays as well for teachers to jump on. And maybe you've got older children that you think they might want to go on a bucket list trip and they can't because they're in school time. Now you've got options to take them on a BucketLister trip as well. So we're super excited about that. But like I say, just wanted to jump on, talk you through all that, and give you a quick explanation of why we've done this, where it's come from, what the thought process is. So hopefully you found that interesting, and have now got a clearer idea of what's what. But if you go onto the website, look at our destinations. If the trip has got a UK flag on it, then that is a BucketLister Plus trip. And if the trip has got a worldwide flag, then that's provided by local guides, and then that's going to be a BucketLister trip. So that's how you can differentiate between the two on the website as well. Anyway, next week I'm going to be back, and next week I'm going to be talking to Rachel, who's one of our dive instructors out in Gozo. And we're going to be talking all things scuba diving next week, qualifications, how to get qualified, why people should be into scuba diving, etc., etc. So looking forward to having a chat with Rachel next week and getting her onto the podcast. So anyway, until next week, thanks very much. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the BucketLister podcast. Be sure to click follow to be alerted for next week's episode. For more travel inspiration, check us out at www.thebucketlistcompany.co.uk or follow us on socials. See you next time.